with the literature in English aspects of the UTME. Now, remember that in our last topic, we're trying to explain the element of drama, and I think I gave about a couple of them, about 10 to 12 or 15. Now, I'm going to be continuing from where I stopped to give you some other aspects of the element of drama. So let's begin with that. So here we have literature in English. Okay, so we're going to be considering the elements of drama. Elements of drama. So the first one that we'll be looking at is called the catharsis. Okay, we're going to be looking at catharsis. So now in literature, the word catharsis means purgation of emotion. All right, purgation of emotion, and that simply means, imagine as an audience, when you watch a particular movie, all right, now due to either how painful or how happy you are after watching that particular movie, you try to express it. So that form of expression is what catharsis is. Now let's take it to be a negative outcome that you had from that particular movie. You know, at some point, some people may want to cry. Do you understand? That form of crying is what catharsis refers to. Like they purge out some form of emotion, such as crying. Some might extremely feel bad. I mean, they feel so bad about what happened in that particular movie. I know we might have experienced this sometime in life. Do you understand? Whereby you watch a particular movie and then you feel so bad, you want to cry. Do you understand? Or probably some might even be crying as well. So that's what is called catharsis in literature. Do you understand? That's a release of emotion, all right, as a result of negative outcome from a particular play, all right. So here we have the release of what? Emotion from from the outcome from the outcome of a particular the outcome of a particular play. All right, that's what catharsis represents. Catharsis has to do with the release of emotion from the outcome of a particular play. That's catharsis, and it's otherwise known as purgation of emotion. All right, so let's continue. It is otherwise known as purgation of emotion. All right, purgation of emotion, that's what it means. Purgation of emotion. For some people, due to some form of maltreatment that a particular character will receive in the movie, all right, or had received in that particular movie, the outcome of it will influence or make some candidates or audience to start crying. You understand? That's purgation of emotion. Some might even feel terribly bad, you know. Now, we're going to be looking at another aspect. So we're looking at this is foyer, all right? Foyer. I know from the spelling you have Foyer, okay? But this is pronounced as foyer. So foyer is basically a large room that is set aside for audience in a theater, all right? Now, what it means is that, you know how a theater will be? A theater is where play and musical performances, cinema will take place. Do you understand? That's theater. Now, in a theater, you would have a very large room that is set aside for only the audience. for only the audience. So this is basically what is referred to as foyer, all right, not foyer. Please be mindful of your pronunciation, all right? So now let's take the definition. So in this case, we have this is a large room that's a large room that is set aside, a large room that is set aside for the audience. A large room, this is a large room that is set aside for the audience in a theater. All right, in a theater. That's what it means. So if you're opportune to be in a theater at where plays and movie production take place, all right, all sorts of movie production take place. So if you've been there, you will see how the foyer is. All right, it accommodates all the audience. Okay, it accommodates all the audience. So this is basically a continuation of it. So the next one we have Hamartia. 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 Hamartia is spelled as Hamartia. All right, Hamartia. Hamartia. So Hamartia is actually the pride or the arrogance, all right, which leads to the downfall of the tragic hero, or which leads to the downfall of the hero. Now, when a particular hero expresses pride or arrogance, I mean, full of himself, so braggadocious, so pompous about himself, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks to people, do you understand? That's Hamartia. That pride will lead to the downfall of the hero. So in this case, that's what is called Hamartia. 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 I hope this is clear to you. So here we have this is the pride or arrogance which leads to the downfall of the tragic hero. Okay, or you could probably say the hero. Most tragic heroes are found in tragedy. Do you understand? Yeah, mostly found in tragedy. So this is Hamartia. Hamartia, the pride. All right, the expressiveness of that pride, showcasing that pride, and it can be examined from different angle. The way the person talks, the way the person carries himself. Do you understand? Yes, and this is basically a character that is explaining or that is trying to show this particular way. Now, the next one is Hubris. Hubris. So this is Hubris. So don't pronounce it as hubris. No, it is actually Hubris. Okay, Hubris. Hubris. So you will realize that Hubris and Hamartia are closely related. They are very similar. All right. Yes. The basic difference is just that Hubris will be talking about the excessive pride. Do you understand? That means the pride has getting to an extent. Probably it is beyond control. Do you understand? That's basically what hubris is referring to. So these are techniques that are basically used in drama, in a drama, in a drama text or in a play. So when a particular character begins to express unusual pride, unusual arrogance. Do you understand? That's basically what hubris means in literature. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's very similar to Hamartia, just that Hubris is an extension of Hamartia. Hubris is the reflection, the showcasing of excessive pride. Do you understand? Yes. So this is the excessive pride or arrogance, okay, excessive pride or arrogance of the tragic hero. Do you understand? Which leads to his downfall. Are you with me? So here, Hubris is basically telling you the excessive pride, the arrogance of the tragic hero, all right, which leads to the downfall. That's what it's referring to. The excessive pride. That is the degree of proudness is so uncontrollable, very, very high. So much to the extent that it begins to affect the tragic hero. Do you understand? It begins to affect the tragic hero. Next one is tragic flaw. Tragic flaw. Tragic flaw. Tragic flaw. Tragic flaw. What's tragic flaw as an element of literature? So tragic flaw is basically talking about the the weakness. Do you understand? The weakness. Do you understand? The attitudinal deficiency, character deficiency. That's tragic flaw. Now, it could be that a particular character or the hero usually express anger so much, and that will lead to the tragic flaw. Tragic flaw, for example, now, I can actually say that every individual has slight tragic flaw. Some people, it could be anger. For other people, it could be impatience. Do you understand? Those are aspects of tragic flaw. That weakness that is found in the life of the hero, that weakness that is found in the lifestyle of the hero, that's the tragic flaw. Flaw here means the mistake. And it is this error that will lead to the downfall of the hero. So the tragic flaw is the mistake, the error, the weakness, the deficiency that affects the hero, that leads to the downfall of the hero. That's tragic flaw. Do you understand? An example of this tragic flaw can be unforgiveness, can be anger, can be impatience. Do you understand? Yes, if a character has the spirit of unforgiveness, do you understand? It's going to affect, it's going to lead to his downfall because they're going to use it against him. If a particular character has impatience or has anger issue, catharsis, so such is going to affect this particular character. And the end is always that it will lead to destruction. It will lead to the downfall of the what? Of the tragic hero. Now let's take the definition. So we can say that this refers to the weakness. Yes, it is a weakness. The weakness, error, or mistake of the hero, which leads to his downfall. Do you understand? Examples of those tragic flaws or those mistakes, let's see them. So, e.g., We can have like impatience. All right. We can have like anger. Okay. Unforgiveness. And so many others. These are examples of the weakness. Now, let's look at another element of drama. The next one is Deus et machina. All right. Deus et machina. Deus et machina. In some other word, you have Deus et machina. All right. Deus et machina. This is a dramatic technique, all right, that means salvation or redemption. Deus et machina. Salvation or redemption. Now, this simply means that there's a character in a particular play, all right? The major function of that character is to save a group of people from a dangerous situation. A character which saves other group of characters from a dangerous situation, from an evil plan. That's Deus et machina. Do you understand? Now, a Deus et machina is an individual, is a character in the text, all right, that helps to save others from a dangerous or a difficult situation. Now, it is possible that there is an evil plan by other characters against a specific character. It could be the hero, for example. Now, when there is an individual who is also a character in that text decides to save the hero from that dangerous plot, okay, that case will now be known as Deus et machina. All right. So now, this is a dramatic technique in which a particular character okay, saves a group of people from a dangerous situation. Or from a plot, an evil plot for that matter. From an evil plot. That's Deus et machina. When a specific character in a text decides to save an individual or a group of people from a difficult situation, from a dangerous situation, or even from an evil plot, that is known as Deus et machina. Okay? Deus et machina. Please, I need you to memorize and take note of all these elements of drama because it will help you. Next one. Next one is known as Trilogy. Trilogy. Now, trilogy signifies 3 sequence of events. It has to do with 3. Bi means 2. Tri means 3. 3 sequence of events. That's trilogy. 3 sequence of events. So now it is possible for a particular author to develop 3 sequence of events in a text. Progressively, 3 sequence of events in a text. That's trilogy. So this is the development This is the development of three sequence of events in one text, or play by an author. So this is the development of three sequence of events in one text or in one play by an author. That's trilogy. 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 And then Deus machine. I hope you understood that very well. So trilogy. So take note of all these dramatic elements, dramatic techniques that are used, okay, to ensure that you understood what they all mean. Trilogy. You will see that in some texts, there is play within a play, event within an event. So when there's a development of about three events at the same time in one single text, on one single play, by one single author, that's trilogy. Sequence of events, sequence of plots, that's trilogy. That's trilogy. Next one, we'll look at irony. 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 So irony is also a dramatic technique. Irony. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Irony. Irony is a figurative language in which what is intended in the mind, all right, the thought of the individual is quite different from what was displayed. That is, what was displayed was the opposite of what was intended. That's irony. So irony thrives in contrast. Irony thrives in contrast. It projects a different thing from what an individual had in mind from what was expressed. For instance, if you intend to praise somebody in your mind, and then when you see the person, you now decide to what? You now decide to say the opposite, which is to render a curse. That's irony. To say the opposite of what one intended, that's irony. And then when you talk about irony, you can look at it from three different aspects. There is dramatic irony, there is verbal irony, and there is situational irony. These are the three types of ironies that we have. Now, let's go. Irony, this refers to the opposite of what was intended and what was said. This refers to the opposite of what was intended and what was said. So this has to do with what an individual had in mind and what was eventually spoken, or what was eventually acted. So that's why I said this refers to the opposite of what was intended and what was said. It's very close to sarcasm, but then sarcasm thrives on inflicting pain, like to inflict pain. So if you look at it from the angle of the length of pains, you realize that here, sarcasm is very much powerful than irony. Now let's look at the next one. We have Peripeteia. That's Peripeteia. Peripeteia. Do you understand? So this is a dramatic technique or dramatic element that deals with reversal of fortune. Reversal of fortune. That is what is expected to happen. Do you understand? What was supposed to happen took the opposite side of it. For example, if something, it could be positive, it could be negative. But in most cases, it occurs in a negative aspect. Reversal of fortune, peripeteia. So that's Peripeteia. And see Peripeteia, peripeteia. All right. So here, this is a dramatic technique. This is a dramatic technique. This is a dramatic technique that shows the reversal of fortune. Let's assume that something positive is supposed to happen to the hero, and then there was a reversal of that fortune to something negative. If the tragic hero was supposed to experience something positive and then the opposite happened, that is a case of reversal of fortune. For example, it could be childbirth that the hero was supposed to experience, all right, from the wife. It could also be business opportunity. Do you understand? And then the opposite, because in most cases, peripeteia will occur in the negative sense, from positive to negative. From positive to negative in most cases. So this is a dramatic technique that shows the reversal of fortune. Reversal of fortune of the hero. That is from negative to positive in most cases. Next one is villain, or you can say a foyer. Both of them fall into the same category. Villain or foyer, they are evil characters. Do you understand? That's the intended assignment. Evil characters. Purely evil characters. All they look out for is just to go against either the hero or the protagonist, all right, or to project evil, to provoke evil in the society. That's the major work of villain and foil. They end up bringing evil into the society as a major work. A villain, a foil, They are both evil characters. Yes. Oppugnant, you can call that. So this is an evil character. This is an evil character. This is an evil character. In focus of the hero or protagonist. This is an evil character in focus of who? The hero or the protagonist. That is, this evil is assigned to either the protagonist or the hero of that particular play or text. So when you read a particular dramatic text, I mean a play, watch out for the villain, watch out for the foil. These are evil people, evil character. They do not project something positive. It's always negative. They are called evil characters. The next one is catastrophe. 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 So it has to do with, dangerous events. Catastrophic events are dangerous events. Events that leads to destruction. As catastrophe. It does not render any positive influence. So this is an event which is considered disastrous or dangerous. It is purely an event that is considered disastrous or dangerous. Now, let's look at other events. We're going to be looking at dramatic irony. Okay? Dramatic irony. Dramatic irony. Dramatic irony. So there are three types of irony. We're going to consider them. Yes. The first one is dramatic Irony. Dramatic irony. Now, dramatic irony thrives with action. This is the display of contrast between what was intended and what was acted. That is the contrast. And dramatic irony here means that the audience are aware of a particular information or pieces of information to which the character in the particular text or play wasn't aware of. Meaning that a particular information is exposed already to the character already to the audience rather, without the characters being aware. So that means in a particular play, when the audience will have certain information to which the character do not know or not aware of, that is dramatic irony. What makes it dramatic? Everyone would expect a character to have the same information or even much more information than the audience. But in this case, reversal or opposite is the case, whereby the audience has the message, the information ahead of the character, or the character do not even have such information or is not aware about such information. That's dramatic irony. So, in a nutshell, a dramatic irony simply means that the audience, all right, have pieces of information to which characters in the play are not aware of. That's dramatic irony. That's dramatic irony. So, and let's take the definition to this, okay? So, now, this is a situation in which actions or pieces of information are already known to the audience, in which the characters are not aware of. Can you say that now? So this is a situation in which actions, all right, that are expected to happen or pieces of information are already known to the audience, in which the characters are not aware of. That's what is ironic about it. That's what is ironic about it. That's what is ironic about it. Because obviously, the characters are expected to be aware or to know the information ahead of the audience. Do you understand? But reversal is the case. Opposite is the case. Okay? So, now verbal irony. Verbal irony. Verbal irony. So verbal irony is almost the same as the normal irony, because verbal irony thrives on speech, while dramatic irony thrives on action. Okay? So verbal irony refers to a situation in which what was intended, all right, was the opposite of what was spoken or what was said. Do you understand? Now, so this is the direct opposite of what was being intended So this is direct opposite of what was being intended and what was said. So basically direct opposite. So in a nutshell, the speech conveyed was directly opposite. In a nutshell, the speech conveyed was directly opposite to what was intended. So, in a nutshell, the speech conveyed was directly opposite to what was intended. Has verbal irony. Next one is situational irony. Situational irony. Situational irony. Okay? So, situational irony is different from dramatic irony and verbal irony. So, in situational irony, what it means is that the situation that was expected by everyone was actually quite the opposite. That is, what everybody would expect to be the situation was basically the opposite. For instance, a disciplinarian has a E-mannered daughter. Of course, the disciplinarian is expected to have a well-mannered daughter. But in this case, a disciplinarian has a what? An E-mannered daughter. Now, a pastor's daughter who practices prostitution. That's situational irony. Of course, everybody will expect a pastor's daughter to be moderate. I mean, to exhibit all of those attributes that are expected of her. But in this case, reverse is the function. The next one again is having a teacher's son who failed examination. All right, or who is a failure for examination. That's situational irony. When a situation is contrary to the expectation of people, that's situational irony. That is what people expect, what they project in mind. All right, then the opposite happened. So that's the opposite of what people project in mind. So this refers to the opposite of what people expect. The opposite of what people expect. In other words, people's expectation people's expectation people's expectation is different from the reality. Different from the reality. People's expectation is different from the reality. That is, what people expect is actually quite different from what happened. What people expect is quite different from what happened. So what people expect was quite different from what happened. That's situational irony. Let me look at any other possible dramatic technique that I have not touched. Yeah, Nemesis. Nemesis. Yeah, I think Nemesis basically. Now, Nemesis is basically the rebound of an evil act, the repercussion of an evil act, rebound or repercussion of an evil act. For example, when one inflicts pain, injury to another. Now, directly or indirectly, such acts, all right, could be repaid. Do you understand? Such acts could be repaid. That's one thing about Nemesis. The rebound of a particular action. So this refers to the rebound or repercussion of a particular evil act This refers to the rebound or repercussion of a particular evil act inflicted on an individual. So in most cases, it's usually a bad repercussion. Do you understand? So in most cases, it is usually, a bad or evil repercussion.